Hello, my friend. Come with me on a journey. A journey to a wide, green country. A land of gentle rivers, tame forests, good food, and blue skies. A place where you have many friends. A place where you can live a simple and good life, if only for a while. You're about to travel to the Shire in Middle-earth. You've been invited to a party. But first you must have courage. The way to the Shire is not easy, but go that way you must, and find a light within you to be your guide. Let us go there now. You're standing in a deep and dark forest. The trees around you are ancient. Their trunks are twisted and bent, writhing up from the forest floor into a dense canopy of heavy green. The bark of the trees is gnarled and covered with moss. Everywhere you look, there are trees, their trunks marching endlessly away from you, until they seem to merge with one another in a murky gloom. The trees grow closely, their branches intertwining to form a nearly impenetrable canopy. Sunlight struggles to pierce through the thick foliage, casting the ground below into twilight. The air is still and heavy, and redolent with the rich smell of earth and rotting leaves. You can hear the occasional drip of moisture from the leaves, but otherwise there is no movement. There is no undergrowth. The forest floor is matted with leaves and covered with interlacing roots. It is only then that you notice that you are holding something in your hand. It is an envelope. Astonished that you did not perceive it earlier, you raise the envelope up in front of you and look at it. The envelope is made of heavy paper. It is sealed with red wax and imprinted with the letters BB. Your name is written on the front in purple ink, with many flourishes and swirls. Curious, you break the seal and pull out a thick card. It is an invitation, written in the same purple ink.
You are invited to a party of special magnificence. Mr. Bilbo Baggins requests the pleasure of your company at the celebration of his 111th birthday at the Party Field, Hobbiton, on Monday, the 22nd of September.
You look around, wondering where to go. But there are no paths that you can discern, and the forest is so dense that one direction looks much the same as another. Presently, you hear footsteps. A man emerges from the trees. He's wearing long grey robes, a pointed hat, and is carrying a staff. He is old. His beard is long and grey, and his face is heavily lined. He is walking straight towards you and shows no surprise at seeing a fellow traveller in the forest. It is as if he has known you were there all along. You have the immediate sense that all is not what it seems with this old man. There is something curiously ageless about him. Under great snowy brows, his eyes are set like coals that could suddenly burst into fire. You know him. He has many names, but you know him as Gandalf. Gandalf stops in front of you and leans on his staff. His eyes soften and twinkle merrily as he glances at the invitation in your hand.
It seems Bilbo's invitations have been sent far and wide. As fortune would have it, we are going in the same direction. I am going to Bilbo's party as well. Indeed, you might say that I will be one of the main attractions. Some foolish young hobbit, whom I have no doubt goes by the name of Samwise Gamgee, started a rumor of fireworks, such as not been seen in the Shire for a century. Well, as foolish as Samwise might be, I do not like to disappoint. And I do have rather a soft spot for both him and Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo will be extremely glad to see you at his birthday party. Moreover, I rather think that the party is just what you need right now.
Gandalf looks at the dark forest thoughtfully.
It is a dangerous business, my friend, going out your front door. You step onto the road, and if you do not keep your feet, there is no knowing where you might be swept off to. But then again, those who are brave and have left safe shores are those who have enriched the world and themselves. So, well met, my friend. This may be a dark place, but there is gold to be found in the darkness, if you do not fear to look for it.
Gandalf strides onwards through the forest, leaving you to follow him.
We go west towards the Shire. We have a party to attend and a long way to go before we arrive there.
You pocket the invitation and set off after him. You settle into a companionable silence as you walk through the forest. Though there is no path, the trees' roots seem less dense where Gandalf walks, and the branches that had seemed to claw at you recede. You feel grateful to be in Gandalf's presence. Gandalf may be powerful and may strike fear into the heart of his foes, but to you he is a friend, a mentor and a guide. He has come to you exactly at a time in your life when you need a grandfatherly figure to give you advice. The forest is quiet, though now that your senses are becoming attuned to it, you can sense life all around you. You see squirrels peeking at you from branches and scurrying across the forest floor as you approach. There are birds too, though they are far above you, in the tops of the trees close to the sky. Occasionally, you see shafts of sunlight, great golden streams of liquid amber pouring through gaps in the forest canopy. Every time you see these golden breaks in the darkness, your spirits lift. Gandalf says nothing, and you're content to walk silently beside him. You emerge from the trees into a circular clearing in the forest. there is sky above you. To your surprise, you see that it is early morning. The sun is low in the sky, not high enough to shine directly into the clearing. But the sky is cloudless and blue, and the sun is bright and dazzles your eyes after the gloom of the forest. The clearing is quite large, perhaps a couple of 100 yards in diameter. No trees grow here. There is green grass covered with wildflowers, like tiny coloured jewels. In the centre of the clearing is a pond. The water is clear. Tiny, winged creatures glowing with light drift over the pond. You can hear the humming of their tiny wings. The rich, dark, earthy smell of the forest is gone. In its place is the perfume of the flowers. It is light and sweet. You feel the dreary atmosphere of the forest fall away from you. In its place, you have a feeling of lightness and optimism. Gandalf leans on his staff and stares thoughtfully at the pond.
This is an old place, older even than the forest, which puts it beyond even the time of the elves. It was a place of new beginnings, at that time, long ago. Of course, ages have passed, and those beginnings have now been replaced by other new beginnings, and many other new beginnings after that. But the power of this place remains, even if the memory of what happened here has not. The world is full of peril, and in it there are many dark places. But still there is much that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. This is one of those fair places. Few have seen it, but you have. This place will always be a part of you.
You stay there for a while in this emerald island, breathing in the scent of the jeweled flowers, watching the gentle movement of winged creatures over the water. You feel a profound peace.
The nearer a person comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength.
Gandalf turns to you.
I can see the strength in you.
Gandalf moves on. Behind you, the winged creatures continue their slow dance over the tranquil water. On the far side of the glade, there is a break in the wall of trees and a clear path beyond it. You can see it running on into the wood, wide in places and open above. Gandalf leads you on towards the path, and soon you're in the dark closeness of the forest once more. The forest is quiet and warm, but far from making you feel gloomy, you now find the forest familiar and comforting. You hear water in the distance. You emerge from the trees onto the bank of a river. The river is broad, and its waters are brown and slow. The river is bordered by willow trees, their branches drooping down into the water, flecking the water with yellow leaves. The air is thick with fluttering leaves, for there is a warm and gentle breeze, making the willow boughs creak and rustle.
This is the river Withywindle. Take care, for it is not as pleasant as it may first seem. The river Withywindle emanates from the Barrows and is imbued not only with the ancient and dark magic of that undead place, but the deep enmity of the forest towards men. We are in no danger from the river and the things that draw sustenance from it, for we pose no danger to the forest. But watch the willows, and if you value your life, do not lie down to sleep under them. That would be to tempt fate.
Gandalf waggles his eyebrows and gives you a fierce, warning look.
If we follow the river, it will take us to the south, where it merges with the larger Brandywine River. But we do not wish to go that way. That way leads us to Deep Hollow and the Overbourne Marshes. We need to go northwest if we are to reach Bag End. Come this way. There is a place we can cross, not far away.
You walk for a while along the bank of the river, yellow willow leaves fluttering around you, and the gentle murmur of the water accompanying your footsteps. Evidently, the forest does not consider you to be a threat, for you feel safe enough, especially in the company of Gandalf. There is something primal and knowing about the forest, something beyond the world of human thought, that is strangely calming. It speaks to something deep inside you. You feel your mind quiet. There is just the sound of the water and the rhythmic beat of your feet against the loam. Presently, you reach a narrow part of the river where the water is shallow and is traversed by several flat boulders. The water flows smoothly around the boulders. The tops of the boulders are smooth and dry. Gandalf leaps to the first boulder and strides across the river without a backwards glance. You follow him. You step back into the forest. The forest seems more spacious here, on the other side of the river. The trees are still dense, but their trunks are taller, straighter, and the canopy a brighter shade of green. You can now see birds flitting above you, darting from branch to branch. The light is dappled on the ground, and above you the canopy is an ever-shifting roof of green and sky blue. In time, you see that Gandalf is in fact following a path. The path is only faint, for the most part distinguished only by the smoothness of the forest floor, but here and there you see white stone underfoot. The remnants of an ancient road, perhaps? In the distance, you see a dark green shape. It is a hedge, a vast hedge the height of several men, and spreading like a wall in front of you. Gandalf does not slow. He turns to the left and follows the hedge to a point where it bends inwards, running along the lip of a hollow. There is a cutting at some distance from the hedge, which slopes gently into the ground. The cutting has walls of brick at the sides which rise steadily until suddenly they arch over and form a tunnel that dives deep under the hedge.
This way has been used by some of the greatest heroes of the Shire. It will serve our purposes just as well as it did theirs.
You scramble through the tunnel and emerge on the other side.
There, we have left the Old Forest. Welcome to Buckland, also known as the East March. A very pleasant corner of the world, to be sure, full of hobbits and all the good things that they bring to a place. But we are not in the Shire. Not yet. We will not be in the Shire until we cross over to the east bank of the Brandywine River. There is still a journey in front of us, I am happy to say.
Gandalf puffs his cheeks and exhales, and with it, you see that he looks lighter, his back straighter, and his countenance less lined. He's happy.
It is a good day for a journey.
Indeed, what Gandalf says is true. It is as fine a day as you could ask for. It is warm and bright, but the day is not too hot. Not far away is an old-fashioned country house, apparently made as much like a hobbit hole as possible. It is long and low, with no upper story. It has a roof of turf, round windows, and a large round door. It is surrounded by a wide circle of well-kept lawn and a belt of trees inside a wooden fence. It's quaint and peaceful looking, despite its proximity to the hedge and the old forest beyond.
Now, there is a place that has some history. You would not think so to look at it, but in a way, that is where a great journey started.
Gandalf leads you down a little laneway. You reach a ridge. The countryside of Buckland spreads out before you. At the base of the ridge is the bustling but cosy village of Bucklebury. Hobbit holes have been built into innumerable little hills that rumple the landscape. You see round doors and windows set into the lush turf, and chimneys poking out of the tops of the hills. There are houses too, built low and thatched with turf. Beyond Bucklebury, you see a broad river, which you know to be the River Brandywine. Beyond that are rolling hills dotted with cows, sheep and well-tilled fields, rows of golden earth shining brightly against the lush pastures surrounding them. You see meandering roads, little streams and patches of woodland. You could not imagine a more picturesque and serene landscape.
Come along. We have a long and pleasant walk ahead of us.
Gandalf leads you down the hill. It is early spring, and though the sun is bright, it is warm rather than hot. The grass is lush and still glittering with dew. There is a grove of trees nearby. They are tall, their branches curving gently out and then upwards. They are covered in white blossoms. Blossoms drift from the branches every time a breeze stirs, filling the air with their fragrance. You lift your face as you walk, letting the blossoms gently kiss your skin. Even Gandalf has a slight smile, his eyes half closed, as he also enjoys this delightful moment. At the bottom of the hill is a little creek. It is swift and tinkles merrily as it flows over smooth stones. Tall, graceful foxgloves fill the meadow on the other side of the creek, their bell-shaped flowers in shades of pink and purple, swaying gently in the breeze. There are buttercups and daisies too. Closer to the water's edge, clusters of forget-me-nots bloom, their delicate blue flowers a striking contrast against the grass. Dragonflies dart over the water. Unlike the river in the forest, this creek is fresh and young and full of vibrant new life. It is no great effort to jump across it. You walk along its bank a little way, heading north. A group of Hobbit children is playing at the water's edge. Some are carrying little nets, no doubt trying to catch fish or tadpoles. One of the older hobbits is teaching some smaller ones how to skip stones on the water. A group of girl hobbits are making daisy chains. They look at you with bright, curious eyes as you approach, and then excitement as they recognize Gandalf.
Have patience, little ones. Yes, there will be fireworks, such as you have never seen before. But no, I shall say nothing more about them before the party. You will see for yourself in good time.
Gandalf laughs as you walk on, the children's laughter and chattering receding behind you. You reach a pleasant country laneway, bordered on either side by hedgerows. You pass a grove of apple trees. There are more hobbit children, this time climbing the branches, trying to pluck rosy apples. They look at you anxiously, then realizing that you're not angry farmers, wave at you and cry out greetings. In time, you reach the village of Bucklebury. The village is bigger than it looks from a distance. Every hill has been tunnelled with comfortable hobbit holes, each with its own unique, colourful door and well-tended garden. Most of the holes feature neat little paling fences, comfortable benches next to the front doors, and of course brightly coloured mailboxes. Hobbits love to send and receive post, even to hobbits who live close to them. As you stroll along the winding paths, you pass lush gardens bursting with flowers and vegetables. The air is filled with the sweet scent of blooming roses and the earthy aroma of freshly turned soil. You see hobbits tending to their gardens, chatting with neighbours, and enjoying a leisurely cup of tea on their front lawns. You return their greetings cheerily, but do not stop. You have a long journey in front of you, and the hospitality of hobbits tends to be as lengthy as it is generous. After a few minutes walking, you leave the village and find yourself walking down another quiet country lane. You approach the River Brandywine. The river is broad, and though seeming to flow slowly, is deep and powerful. Its waters have travelled far, through strange lands beyond the knowing of hobbits. Its source is Lake Evandin in northern Eriador. From its source, the river travels eastward for about 60 miles, then south for 120 miles, until it comes into the Shire. From the Shire, it eventually winds its way out to the Great Sea. You and Gandalf pause for a while, looking at the broad sweep of the river. You imagine that one day you might take a boat along its entire length. What wondrous places might you see? You and Gandalf resume walking. Presently you reach the lane to the Brandywine ferry. The entrance to the ferry lane is marked by 2 tall white posts, leading to a straight path edged with large whitewashed stones. The path ends at a broad wooden landing stage where the ferry is moored. The area is well kept with lanterns on posts. Unlit now, of course. The Brandywine ferry is an essential crossing point over the Brandywine River, connecting the Shire to Buckland. The ferry is a simple flat raft large enough to accommodate a few hobbits at a time. The ferry is unmanned, but that poses no difficulty for you and Gandalf. You step aboard the raft and pull on the rope connecting it to the other side. Moments later, the ferry slides up the bank of the river. You tie up the rope and resume walking. On this side of the bank, the terrain is steeper, with a winding lane climbing up from the landing stage. Gandalf takes a deep breath.
Welcome to the Shire, a haven for the weary, a truly blessed place. My heart is lighter here.
The two of you walk up the path and crest the hill. The landscape of the Shire stretches before you. It is peaceful, and it is beautiful. Rolling hills stretch out before you. The hills are covered with lush grass that sways in the gentle breeze. Ripples form, like waves on the ocean, flowing from one horizon to the other. The sky is blue and cloudless. The path from the ferry joins a road, meandering across the landscape. The road is broad, made of yellow-packed earth. There are no other travellers. You and Gandalf are alone. As you take in the landscape of the Shire, you feel as if a burden that you did not know you were carrying has been lifted from you. Your mind grows quiet. You feel the warmth of the sun, the cleanness of the air, and the beauty all around you, filling your body and your senses. You are overflowing with happiness. You walk down the path and join the road. The road feels smooth, and your feet feel light. Gandalf is indeed in a cheerful mood, and talks to you volubly about the Shire, its inhabitants, and its history. After an hour or so of walking, you see a hobbit village next to a little river. A patchwork of fields surrounds the village. The fields are bordered on all sides by well-tended hedges. On either side of the river, you can see little market gardens and hobbits weeding and gathering produce in wheelbarrows and baskets. Younger hobbits are splashing in the water and laughing. Gandalf bids you to sit down and rest. You both sit on the grassy hill for a little while, enjoying watching the hobbits going about their lives.
It is no bad thing to celebrate a simple life. Indeed, if more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world.
Gandalf reaches into his robes and produces a flask, 2 leather-bound cups and 2 seed cakes. Remarkably, the flask contains hot tea. You accept a cup from Gandalf and nibble on a seed cake. Both are delicious. In a little while, Gandalf puts away the flask and cups, and you walk on. you feel considerably refreshed. Presently the road reaches a little wood. This wood is not like the old forest. The trees here are widely spaced, their trunks pleasantly curved and covered in warm brown bark, and their leaves are bright green. The forest floor is full of bluebells. Sunlight twinkles through the leaves. Birds call. Once, you even see a family of deer in a distant glade. They watch you pass with their liquid brown eyes, but seem unafraid. Here and there are flagstones, and other square stones that are much eroded, but still bear traces of old runes. They are clearly made by the same hands as the flagstones in the old forest you saw many hours ago. Gandalf sees you looking at them.
The stones are remnants of a long-lost age, when the Shire was part of the kingdom of Arthedain. The kingdom is gone, long ago now. It was destroyed by war with the Witch King of Angmar, but some of its past glory remains. What you see is an echo of a great age. In time, even that will fade, but that is the way of things. Everything passes.
As you walk, you find yourself telling Gandalf that you feel somewhat lost. This is a world of heroes and adventure. That is something that you yearn for as well. In this world, you may find it. But in your own world, your purpose seems so much harder to find. Gandalf is silent for a while, as if weighing his words. At last, he speaks.
The idea you have of being lost in life only arises because you believe that there is some path you should be on, some direction in life that you should be heading towards. If that is your belief, and you cannot find what that goal is, then of course you will feel lost. But the idea that any one of us, with all our infinite potentiality, has any one single purpose in life is, in my view, quite foolish. Our lives do not have a purpose, but neither do they have to. You would not ask what a tree's purpose is, or a mouse's purpose, or what the purpose of that rock lying on the ground over there might be. Would you now? Things in this world, including ourselves, just are. A flower is no less beautiful because it does not have a purpose. So, what should you do? Instead of asking yourself, what is the purpose of my life? It is far better for you to ask yourself, what can I do with my time that is important? You see, purpose is just something you make up in your head. It is simply deciding that something is really important and then doing it. You can do that at any time, and it is really up to you. What do you think is important? There you will find your purpose. Of course, you might not know what is important to you. It is a shared human experience to constantly be wondering what is important to do with one's days, so I should not worry if you find yourself wondering about that too. But while you are working out what is really important to you, there is always something good that you can do to make your life better. Perhaps that might be to read a book. It might be to tidy up your surroundings. It might be to write to your friend. It might be to undertake some sort of exercise that will, if done regularly enough, improve your physical health. It might even be as simple as going for a walk. Nothing is ever made worse by going for a walk. Will these things help you decide on a purpose in life? Perhaps, perhaps not. But they are good things to do. Do several good things each day in your life, and you will find that your life becomes better.
Gandalf spreads his arms.
Look around you. Is this not a fine day? You are in a beautiful wood, walking with a friend, and your imagination is rich and powerful, and will lead you to wonderful and unexpected places. Just put one step in front of the other. That's the way to live a good life.
Gandalf's eyes are bright and merry. You feel yourself lifted as well. Your spirits are light. You feel happy. You know that if you want to discuss this or any other problem, Gandalf would be happy to do so. But for now, you're content to walk in silence. You embrace the present moment, the feel of your boots against the road, the sun against your skin, the fragrance and sights of the Shire filling your senses. In this moment, life is good. And you will always have this moment.
Down the paths where the daisies grow, under hills where secrets flow, there's a song in every side. As we wander, you and I, Hobbit folk with tales so grand, footprints in the river's sand, round the bend where the fireflies dance, lost in stories of chance. Walking in the Shire, hearts so light, stars they twinkle in the night. Every step a journey start. In the Shire we share one heart. Meadows green and whispers fair, cup of ale, no worldly care. Round the hearth where friendships lie, hymns of old times gone by. Oh, the road less traveled calls through the woods with ancient walls. Every leaf a book of lore, every brook a fabled shore. Walking in the Shire, hearts so light, stars they twinkle in the night. Every step a journey start. In the Shire we share one heart. Oh, the road less traveled calls through the woods with ancient walls. Every leaf a book of lore, every brook a fabled shore. Walking in the Shire, hearts so light, stars they twinkle in the night. Every step a journey start. In the Shire we share one heart.
You walk on in the company of Gandalf.